Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Creating Cards with Debbie. I want to thank you for being here today. And let me just give a moment for everybody to get here. My name is Debbie Foster, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I'm located in Bismarck, Arkansas, and we're going to do 3 greeting cards today, and I'm using Stampin' Up! Products. So let me go ahead and put our banner up here to have you be able to shop any products that I might be showing today or any paper products you might be needing. It is www.debbiefoster.stampinup.net. And with at least $20 order before tax or shipping, you'll receive a 10% in rewards. So if you have a $20 order, you'd get $2 in rewards. But if you had like a $100 order, then you'd get $10 in rewards to use on your next purchase. So that's a little extra that Stampin' Up! Has just started. If you have any questions on that, reach out to me. All right, so let me start with our housekeeping notes. Then let me switch you back down to my table view, and we'll get started. Okay, there's my table view. And today is Monday, May 12th, 2025. This month is almost half over already. Goodness, the time goes so fast. All right, so like I said, I'm creating cards with Debbie. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in Bismarck, Arkansas, in the United States. And if you want to shop any products that I'm showing today, you can go to www.debbiefoster.stampinup.net. So let's talk about Paper Pumpkin. This is a monthly subscription that you can sign up for. And I believe the cost is like $27 or something like that. And also with that subscription, you can also earn rewards. So you get $2 in rewards off of that each month. So that's a little extra. But we're talking about the June Paper Pumpkin Kit right now. And you have until June 10th to sign up for this. So it just started yesterday was the first day that you could sign up for this one. So it runs from May 11th to June 10th for subscription signups. And it says coordinates with the Floral Charm Suite collection. So that's in our book. And it says it is full of charm is the name of it. It makes 9 cards, 3 each of 3 designs with 9 coordinating envelopes. Easy for me to say. Envelopes and card bases with decorative gold foil, pre-cut paper pieces, and unique sentimental labels. The Stampin' Spot that you'll get with this one is going to be the Pretty Peacock. Okay, that Floral Charm Suite collection, the item number for that one is 166141, if you want to add that onto your order. And it says, send your loved ones elevated cards with heartfelt sentiments. It's going to be a pretty one, I think. Looks like it's really pretty. All right, then along with that, you can add on the dies that coordinate with that. So Stampin' Up! Started Paper Pumpkin dies where it's 3 months. So it was April, May, and June that they'll coordinate with. So here's the May. It's a label die cut. So the item number on that is 166238, and it's $12 for those dies. But you can only add those to your order if you have a Paper Pumpkin subscription. So it's something to think about. Also, during the month of May, from May 6th until May 31st, if you get your sign up for your starter kit, we're running a special where you pay $99 for the kit, but you get to choose $165 worth of products, and that's product of your choice. This will come with free shipping also. This is our biggest starter kit special. It's available for a limited time, so it's only until May 31st that this is running. Like I said, you get $165 worth of products for only $99. That's an extra $66 in products to kickstart your hobby or your business, whichever you want to do with it. Become a demonstrator or hobbyist and enjoy all the perks that comes with that, like a 20 to 25% product discount, exclusively early access to products, and the opportunity to earn a modest supplemental income, the chance to attend incredible training and crafting events, and so much more. Okay, so like I said, if you have any questions on that, reach out to me. I've got the link in my description of my video for this starter kit. So click on that and go there and check it out, or you can just private message me or email me. All right, so when you're in there shopping, don't forget about our online exclusives. These are only online, they're not in the catalog. Oops, I just bumped my camera. So we've got some new products here. It says shop our full selection of crafting products in our online store. You can shop online or place an order through your demonstrator. It says we've got some new designer series paper, and I'm going to be using this paper today. It's called Floral Impressions, the 12 by 12 designer series paper. And then we've got the stamp set and dies. We're going to be using that today. And then you can get the foiled frames and labels ephemera pack. I don't have that one yet. I didn't put that on my order. And the pressed flowers embossing folder. I haven't gotten that one either yet, so that's on my next order. And then the strawberry slush and pretty and pink gems are also pretty. I've got those right here, so maybe it shows it a little bit better. Very sparkly and delicate. All right. Trying to set things out of the way here. And don't forget that we've also got the last chance products. And I'm using some of those today too. They're really discounted. It says shop last chance products available only while supplies last. And I believe there is a tab in my store that you can click on to that and it'll bring that right up to you. We did paper pumpkin. Starter kit. Okay, so I think I've gone over all of our housekeeping notes that we need to do. So we can get right on with our projects then today. Okay. And we have got our brand new annual catalog that just started last Tuesday, I believe it was, on the 6th. So we get to open that and we can show you the inside now, where we couldn't do it before. Gorgeous, gorgeous items. And this one is our new annual catalog. It runs from May 6, 2025 until May 4th of 2026. So it's good for a year. And I'm going to bring us up to the page that products that we're going to be using today. And it is Impressions Abloom is what we're going to be using today. Let me find that. Okay, I guess it's not in here. I guess it's an online exclusive that I got that off of. So I'm wondering, it's a paper. We're still trying to get used to what's in the catalog and what's in the online exclusives. So let me look at that real quick. Florals in Bloom, 117. Nope, that's not it. So the paper is an online exclusive also. So yeah, it's not in this one. So it's an online exclusive. All right, so let's get on with our projects. We're going to start out with a fun fold. And let me get our bundle here to show you what we're going to be doing. And where did I put my dies? Been working with them all morning. Okay, here's the stamp set, and here's the dies that go along with that. And we've got a terrible glare. So you can get this as a bundle. It's number 165611. And like I said, this is an online exclusive with the dies. It's got 12 dies. So let's go ahead and start with that. Get all my bits and pieces out here. I gotta make some more room over here. I'm kind of crowding myself. Let me rearrange a little bit. Okay, my bits and pieces. I've done a lot of the prep work ahead of time to save some time. You don't want to sit and watch me coloring and all that sort of thing, die cutting everything. So, all right. So here is our fun fold. It opens this way, and then this flap flips up. So it's got 2 flippins. Let me get my camera back over here. Right here we go. And I'm going to remove that, give us some more room to show what I'm doing. And be sure you comment when you come on, say hello. All right, so this one says, I appreciate you. And it opens, this opens, and it says so very much on the inside. So let's go ahead and get started with that. We're going to start out with our card base. It's going to be one of our new colors, which is Darling Duckling. And that measures 4 1/4 inches by 11 inches. Then it's scored in the middle at 5 1/2 inches. So we're going to get our bone folder and we're going to burnish that fold line. And I need to bring out my paper trimmer because we're going to do a little extra to this card base. So I'm going to open it up and I'm going to, on the right side, I need to cut out 2 1/8 inches by 5 1/2 inches on the one side. So it's going to open this way. So I want it to be on this side. So let's go down, put it over to 2 1/8 inches, which is right there. And start this one out at the 5 1/2. I'm going to cut that off and bring this back down to 5 1/2 and cut out that strip again. So I'm getting myself confused here. We want to cut off this one. So 5 1/2. And we got a little extra left over to use for something else later. So I did the wrong side. So we're going to flip it over back that way. I want it to be on the left side. And I'm going to put the trimmer on the side here. And let me burnish that fold again because I folded it back the other way again. All right, and our designer series paper, we're going to be using, let me show you these. These are so pretty. Let me just go ahead and bring them out here and show all the designs. So I'm going to take out one of each here. We've got a little time today. We don't have to be in a hurry. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Ours was wonderful. And I have this one out here. Yeah. Yes, I do. I think I got them all. Yeah. I believe that's all of them. So there's 6 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 5. I'm missing one. Well, maybe this one. Yeah, it's that one. Now we've got it. There's 66 sheets. double-sided, and there's 2 sheets of each design. That's what I'm trying to say. So here's one. This has got 2 different, or all the different colors on one sheet, so you can kind of use that as you wish. And it's got the yellow on the back. It's not showing really yellow. I guess my lighting's kind of off today. And we have this design with a pink dainty design on the back. And this is the one that we're using for our card, our first card. And it's got little on the back. And we've got this pattern. I love these colors. They're so bright and cheerful. And then these. It's hard to say which is my favorite. I love them all. All right, let's get back to our card. So, all right, let me get our darling duckling. Another cardstock is going to be all right, I'm confused here. This one is 5.5 by 4 inches, and then it's scored in the middle at 2 and 3/4 inches. It's scored at, and this is going to go onto our card. It'll be having them fold on the right side. So we're going to burnish that. Got some smudges on my paper, but it's going to be covered up anyway. Oop, that was loud. Sorry. All right. So we're going to start out by decorating the inside of our card. So we're going to open that. And we've got our designer series paper. And this measures 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. That's going to attach to the inside of our card. So let's bring our adhesive over here. Morning, Sharon. Glad to see you. I've got to trim off this bottom here. I've got a little excess there. I didn't trim down very well. So I'm going to take my paper snip and snip that right off of there. Okay, so let's turn this right side up, and we're going to put that on the inside, keeping a border, even border going around. And then I'm going to add the paper onto our flap. I can get a hold of it here. And this one is the same as the inside. Or you could flip it over and do a different design, but I'm going to keep it the same. So this measures 1 7/8 inches by 5 1/4 inches. It's going to go on this front flap, your left side. And I sat down. Here's our card so far. And this will flip open. And then we're going to bring our smaller card over. And this one, we are going to add some pecan pie to the front flap. See, it'll cover that little smudge I had. Make sure your fold is on the right side. And this measures 2.5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. And that'll just go onto that front flap. Oh, put glue all over the place here. And center that. Scooch that down a bit. Let me grab a tissue and clean this glue off of my work surface, or I'll be sticking to it. All right, so we're going to set that onto our card front. But first I'm going to, well, now we're going to go ahead and glue this down. It's going to go on the inside of that flap and centered. So let's put our glue on there. Make sure your fold opening, your fold is on the right. And I'm going to turn it sideways and place it down. And I'm just going to put that right in the center. Give or take. I think that's even. Press that down. So this will fold down and then this will fold over it. All right, now we're going to bring our stamps over here. And our okay, I'm just getting all my stamps ready over here. All right, we're going to start out with our flowers. And I'm going to be using Darling Duckling ink pad, the pecan pie, and my old faithful old olive stamp pad I haven't replaced yet. All right, so let's go ahead and stamp our flower. This is our inside layer. This is our basic weight, and this measures 2.5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. That's going to be our inside layer of our small card. I'm using the Darling Duckling. And I'm just going to position my flower in the bottom right-hand corner. This is a 2-step stamp, but I'm going to just use the 1 step. I'm just going to have the detailed flower. I'm not going to do the background. Oops, I'm not done with that yet. And I've got the flower. I'm going to go ahead and stamp my flowers for my card that I'm going to die cut. So I'm just going to do 1 flower, and then I'm going to do 1 of the leaves. The leaves are the old olive, and the center of the flower is going to be pecan pie. And stamp the center of that flower. And I'm going to do my sentiment using the old olive. So I'll close these up and set those aside for a moment. Bring back my old olive. And I'm going to stamp our sentiment that's going to go on the front. It says, "I appreciate you." And we're going to fussy cut that out. So we'll get the stamping done ahead of time. And make sure I'm stamping in the right place. Okay. And then so very much on the outside, or on the inside, I mean. It's going to go upper left side. Okay, so that's all the stamping we've got to do. So we'll put those away for now. And close up our glue for a moment. And then I'm going to bring my paper snips over here, and we're going to fussy cut our sentiment out. So let me cut that off of the large. Ow, I just cut my finger. Oh, that's not good. The paper snips are sharp. So I don't bleed all over here. I may have to run and get a Band-Aid. What not to do when you're paper crafting. Be careful of the paper snips. They are sharp. Alrighty. Yeah, I'm gonna have to grab something. Maybe I can use this tissue to wrap around it. I'm on blood thinner, so it might take a little bit for the bleeding to stop. Oh, goodness. Never a dull moment. All right. I guess I need to keep Band-Aids in my craft area. Not a bad idea. All right, so I've got the sentiment fussy cut out after cutting myself. No blood on it. That's a good thing. All right, so we're going to go ahead and place our inside layer in here. And just misplaced my glue. Where did I put my glue? There it is. So put our adhesive on there. My bottle's getting low again. All right. Center that on the inside. Oh, and I forgot to stamp the center of that flower with my pecan pie. So let me bring that back again. Pecan pie on my case. I'm wiping that off before I spread it everywhere. Guess it's on my fingers too. All right. It's going to fold down like that, and then this over like this. And I've already stamped and die cut my flowers out ahead of time to save a little time. So I've got 3 of those flowers. And they were stamped with a daffodil or darling duckling ink pad. It's one of our new colors. And then I've got 5 leaves that I've stamped and die cut already. If I can get a hold of them, we will. Well, my fingers aren't cooperating today. My hands feel a little stiff today for some reason. Maybe it's the arthritis. All right, so we're going to start arranging our flowers on here. And I'm just doing a kind of a dry fit for now to see how I want them arranged. And I think that maybe looks okay like that. And I need a Band-Aid. And put this one down next. Let me see if I can take that off of there now. Yeah, I'll leave it there for a moment. Need to have my silicone mat over here so I don't get glue everywhere. And our third flower. We'll put that one thinking maybe right there. And now we'll fill in our areas with our leaves. And we'll put one up here, tuck it underneath that leaf, that petal. And another one right about there. Some glue that I've got right there, so I'm trying to cover that up a little bit. Right. I like to do odd numbers, and that's why I'm doing 5 leaves. I usually do 3 or 5. So this one's 5. And one peeking out right there. Well, that's going to be in the way when I open my card. And our 5th one can go. Well, maybe right there. Is that still open there? I can slide that a little bit. There. All right, and then our sentiment is going to go across that. So I'm trying to figure out where I want to position it at. Right about there is good. So I'm going to add my glue. Back side of that. And I'm still undecided. I guess maybe right here. I'm going to have the one side sticking off the side of the card a little bit. So it's going to be protruding out there. All right. And to bling this up a little bit, we're using some of our new embellishments also. That's in our new catalog. They're the 2025 to 2027 in color flat pearls. So they won't interfere with your postage that much. So it's good. And I'm going to get 3 of those. After I get it all unstuck here, we will. And I'm going to use the Darling Duckling. I want to say Daffy Duck, but it's not what it is. It's Darling Ducklings. And I take your pick tool. And I'm going to use a large one. I'm going to put, whoops, right here. And then I'm going to have another large one and a smaller one. Well, let's go with the medium sized and then a small. And a small one right there. I didn't add a ribbon to this card, but you very well could, but I didn't. So here we have, I appreciate you. Opens this way, and then the flap opens. And then on the inside it says, so very much. So I appreciate you so very much. So there's our first card. Hope you liked it. And reposition things here, and we'll get on to our next one. And I'm trying to see which one I want to do next. Okay. Get some things out of the way. Put the cap on my glue so it doesn't clog up on me. Okay, my next one, I'm using mostly the designer series paper to do all the work. So this one says thanks. It's heat embossed. And on the inside, so very much, I appreciate you at the bottom. So let's go ahead and get started with that. And I should move my, let me see if I'm quit bleeding yet. It looks like it might be okay, so I'm going to keep that handy just in case I need it. All right, so this paper comes from, it is one of our new ones. It's the Beautiful Gallery. And let me just show you these patterns. They're beautiful. So this is one that we're using today. It's the back. With these papers, you don't need much work to them. You just add a sentiment, a lot of them. Easy cards. And this one's pretty. And here's another one of those. You could just use it to be the focal point of the card and then just add your sentiment to it and ready to go. Oh, I didn't notice it's got a little house down there. I didn't notice that before, and a little boat. Okay, I guess I didn't look real close at these yet. And the back side has some trees. And this one. And this one's got, I guess it's trees. Looks like maybe a wall back here, a stone wall. A mountainside or something. This one's pretty too. I love them all. And here's a little boat scenery. Flowers. And it's got kind of like a road map on the back side. And here we have a little house out in the meadow and the back side. And this you can find in our annual catalog. And it is on page, I just seen it. So let me find that again. Give you the page number if you want to look that up. Oh, gotta find my index first. Where did it go? Well, that's how pages, there, they were stuck together. Okay, designer series paper. And it's the Beautiful Gallery. It's on page 119. Yeah, here we are right here, right at the bottom. Yeah, trying to get my camera to focus in on it. Page 119. Okay, we'll move those aside and get going here. Enough talking. I'm going to start out with our card base. It's going to be our basic gray. And it's 4 1/4 inches by 11 inches and scored in the middle at 5 1/2 inches. So we're going to burnish that score line. And then we're going to bring over our designer series. Well, first we're going to start with a white layer, our basic white, and this is going to be an odd measurement, but I wanted just a little tiny border showing. So it's 4 3/16 inches across by 5 7/16 inches. And if you don't know how to measure the 16ths, it is for each of these little, let me see, for each of these little lines is a 16th. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you just kind of count them across whichever, well, like this one is 3/16. So 1, 2, 3. Oops. Yeah. I was pointing at the wrong one. It's on the inches, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so forth. So it's 3/16 is each line, or a 16th is one of those lines. I'm probably confusing you more than I'm explaining it. Okay, so this was 4 3/16 inches by 5 7/16 inches. And that's going to go onto our card front. So let's go ahead and attach that. And it's still sticky there. And on our card front, I'm just going to leave a small, small border all around. So I need to pick this up so I can see what I'm doing. And just kind of keep scooching it till I get it where I want it to be. All right, I think that's good right there. There's just a tiny, tiny edge is going to show. And now we're going to get our designer series paper. And that measures 4 1/8 inches by 5 3/8 inches. And that's going to sit right onto that basic white. Just a small border going around it. A little extra here today. And I'm going to turn that sideways so I can get a better view. And just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of white showing. Just a sliver. And I need to scooch a little bit. All right. I actually got it on there straight. So you just barely see the white. Just a sliver of it. All right, so we're done with that for now. We're going to set that aside, and we're going to do some heat embossing. And I've got a little piece of that designer series paper that I cut off the side. We're going to emboss right onto that. So I'm going to bring my things over here to do that. I'm going to bring my silicone mat over here. Got my heat gun. And we're going to use our thanks stamp, our Versamark. I'm going to use my embossing buddy to get rid of any static cling that might be on there. I'm going to use our white embossing powder. And I'll go ahead and use our embossing tray. I guess I didn't, well, I'm going to stamp first. So let's use our first amount, and we're going to stamp our thanks. Get that inked up really good. And I'm going to just put it up in this upper corner. Put our lid back on our Versamark, but we don't want to get no powder in there. And I'm going to bring it right over here and just dump that in there onto our sentiment. And one more time. Tap, tap, get the excess off of there. And I'll put this away later. I'm not going to take the time right now. But I am going to set it aside so I don't blow embossing powder all over the place. Put that right over there. Bring our heat gun over here. I'm hoping I can reach, okay. I'm gonna let that heat up. I'm going to heat emboss that. You didn't see what I put on there. Let's just go ahead and hold it. It just takes a moment for the heat embossing to start melting the powder. Be sure you don't overdo it, because you can overdo and it'll kind of look yucky. It'll melt it too much. So you don't want to keep it on there too long. When you see it changing color, then it's good. All right, so now I'm going to just snip that off with my paper trimmer. And so it looks like maybe about 3/4 inches is good. I've got scrap. We'll save that for something else. Put your paper trimmer away. All right, so bring that back over here, and it's going to go down here. But first, we're going to take our new ribbon, which is called the gold striped mesh ribbon. And I'm going to kind of do a zigzaggy on the back of this. So I'm going to take my Stampin' Seal. And put some sticky on the back of that. And bring that back over here. Run a couple of strips of that across. I don't use my Stampin' Seal enough, so I feel awkward when I'm trying to use it. So the struggle is real. I guess I ought to use it more often. All right, so we're going to take that, leave that there for a moment. We're going to unwrap some of this ribbon, and I'm going to, isn't this pretty? And it's so thin, it's real dainty. All right, so we're going to zigzag this up and down. And so I'm going to have, I guess, like 3 layers kind of. And then I'm going to snip that off at an angle. That's what it'll look like so far, but we're going to put dimensionals behind there. So let's bring those over here. We'll grab a couple of those. Those in the garbage. And then bring our card back over here. We're going to place that in the lower left-hand corner. And I think I'm going to trim this down a little bit shorter. All right. Oops, ribbon stuck to my finger. So there we have it so far. But we need to add some bling to this. So let's bring out some gems here. And I'm going to be using these are the blooming pearls. And this is on the last chance. It was $8. They're marked down to $6.40. And this is while supply lasts. These are been out for a little while, and they're one of my favorites. I've run out of the gold. I got a couple left. That's all I've got left. So we're going to add some of those onto our card front. And I have 2 sheets in there. And I'm going to take the bigger ones. I'm going to place those up here. Well, I think I'll put a large one and a little one up here. And then another large gold. We'll use the last gold one. We'll place that down right about there. Remember, these are the blooming pearls is what they're called. And price is $6.40. You get, how many are in here? There's 120 of them in there. Very pretty. All right, so there's the front of our card. Thanks. And now let's work on the inside of our card. We've got a basic white, which is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And then I've got a piece of that designer series paper that I cut off. And that is 1/4 inch by 5 1/4 inches. Well, it will be. I'm going to trim it down. So I'm going to go and do my stamping first so I don't mess that up. And it's going to say on the inside, it says thanks on the outside. And we're going to do so very much. And I appreciate you. And I need to clean off my stamps here. And I'm missing a stamp. Where did I put it? Well, how could I lose a stamp? Very easily. Am I looking right at it? Yeah, I'm looking at it. Here it is, so very much. So I need to bring my Simply Chamois over here and clean off those from the last time. And I'm going to stamp those using one of our other new colors, which is hiding. It is called the Secret Sea. Okay, so. All right, so that's going to lay right there. We're going to put so very much on the top, right next to that. And I appreciate you at the bottom right-hand corner. All right, I'll close this up. And I'm going to turn this around this way. Add some glue to that. Bring my silicone mat over here so I don't get glue everywhere. And I'm just going to run a fine strip of glue across this left side. Maybe. And place that down. And then we're going to trim that off. Just got glue on my fingers. Trim out that excess. And then add that to the inside of our card. Make sure you're not upside down. So there's the front, there's the inside. Everything's going the right direction. I don't have that very straight. Can I scooch it? No, it's going to have to stay that way. Okay, so here's our second card. Thanks so very much. I appreciate you. Okay, number 2 is done. Clean up my mess here a little bit, and I'll get on with our third one. I'm trying to get the glue off my fingers so I'm not sticking to everything. All right. Here's our second card. Get some pieces out here. I'll get started. I've done a lot of the prep work ahead of time on this one also, so it saves us a little time. Oh, you're looking pretty good for time, so I think I'm right on time. Scheduled it right. Get all our bits out of there without losing any. Okay, this one is a hello friend. And on the inside, you're in my thoughts today. So this one I had to add a couple other stamp sets for my sentiments. So they come from, the extras are the storybook friends for the hello friend, for this outside sentiment. And then on the inside, you're in my thoughts today. This is the thoughtful expressions. And this is on our last chance also. The regular price was $25, but it's marked down to $12.50. So it's another cute stamp set that you might want to add to your collection before it's gone. All right, so this one we're going to be die cutting our flowers. We're not going to be stamping them. So I've already done that ahead of time. So let me go ahead and get us started. I'm going to be using our thick white cardstock for the card base, which is 4 1/4 inches by 11 inches. And I just realized all my cards today are that same orientation. Okay, so 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. We're going to burnish that fold line. At least I'm not bleeding anymore, so that's a good thing. Blood on cards is not very pretty. All right, and then we're going to have our card in green. This is 4 1/8 inches by 5 3/8 inches. And to save some money on my cardstock, I've decided I'm going to cut out the center of that because that's the oval that we're going to be using, the frame. So I've already done that ahead of time to save a little bit of cardstock. We just are using the same piece, so we'll save a little bit. Okay, so here's the inside of it. And let's snap this out of there. Let me get my take your pick tool. Little persuasion, we'll poke that out. And grab that out of there. And that's going to be our frame. It cuts out twice. It cuts out the outer edge and then it cuts out the inside edge. That's in our dies. That goes along with this bundle. And then I've got the designer series paper, which I showed you that. That was this here, Pat, the Floral Impressions 12 by 12. And we're using this design. That's going to be our mat that goes on top of this. So see, it's all covered. Nobody's going to know the difference that it's got a hole in the middle. So I'm just going to put my glue around the edges of this. I don't need it on the inside. And you could have used that side too. That's pretty too. I like that too. But I thought the little green circles went a little bit better with this. And we're going to line that up. And that looks fine. Press it down. See, nobody knows there's a hole in the middle. We might as well put that onto our card front. Get that out of the way. I think my glue bottle's getting down towards the end again. And we'll place that onto our card front. Leave a small edge around, a white edge. And I need to push that up a little bit to the top. That looks good. Place that all down. are. Okay, so now we're going to take our little framework that's going to go in the center of that. But I'm going to use my silicone mat so I don't get glue everywhere. Turn that over. I probably should have used my fine tip, but I'm going to be brave and just use a regular, if I can get it to come out of there. There. That came out a little fast. Yeah, I think I would have done better with a fine tip. But we're into it now. We can't stop. All right, I'm going to take those reversible tweezers and I'm going to hold it with that to attach it. And it's going to go centered. Need to do some rearranging here a little bit. All right, and I've die cut that same die with the gold garden green and with the basic white. And I'm going to use the basic white layer on the inside, but I've already embossed this using the embossing folder, the So Swirly. I've done that ahead of time, so we're going to put that on the center. So let me add my glue to that. And place that down in the center of our little framework. And it looks like I should have rearranged it a little bit better. Can I scooch it? I think what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to pull that off. And oh, I just messed that up. I need to cut another one. Well, let's lay this down. And then we've got to cut another garden green. So let me get my paper over here. And my frame. I'm going to use my big machine. I'm not going to put it on camera. I'm just going to do it off camera here. I don't have room to set it over there. So give me just a second. Bring the camera a little bit. All right. So here's the center of that we don't want, but here's our green frame again. And this one I'm going to use a fine tip glue, I think. Maybe. Where did I put it? And then my silicone mat over here. All right, I'm going to put the lid on that before it dries out. I mean, plugs it. Okay, my tweezers to pick that up with. Bring that card back over here. It's taking that glue a little bit time to dry. While that's drying, we're going to lay a block on top of it, and we'll do our flowers while we're waiting for that to attach better. Okay. So the dies have cut out our flowers, and let me bring those over here while I'm talking about them. I've done the dies, I've taped them together where this one kind of shows a little bit better. I've arranged the dies together. Let me get that matched up there, right? Okay, so it matches up right there. So I took my washi tape. I guess I should turn this upside down. Turn it upside down. I take my washi tape and then I stick them together so they'll stay in place. And then I put them onto my cardstock. So I use the daffodil, or the Darling Duckling cardstock, our new color. And I die cut all 3 flowers out of that. So there's the dies for them. And you can see I just stuck them all together and then ran them through instead of trying to match them up afterwards. And the same with the dies. Well, I've got 2 that just cut out this pattern, and then I've got one that has the center where it does the embossing kind of thing. So it comes with both styles. Let me show you the other one and where are my dies. So you can kind of see this one cuts out the outside, and then it has that little center piece, that little tiny piece right there that goes in there. But then the other ones are these, where they just cut out the whole thing, the outline and the design in the middle. So I did one with the center piece, and then I did 2 with just the whole thing. So let me put these away before I lose them. And I bumped the camera, sorry. Okay, so let's get back. Here's our flowers. We've got 1 of each size. And then I've got 3 leaves. And then it has the stems that it cuts out. And I'm missing one here. Here it is. This one right here. And then the centerpiece for the flowers, I've got 2 sizes. I've got the large, and then I've got the smaller one. So this is the large one, and then the small one looks just like that. And I did the same with those. I just taped them onto my cardstock to keep them in place. And it has a little notchy center where it's got the little dots. I'm going to put those together so I don't lose them. Quite a few little pieces with these dies you don't want to lose. All right, so here is the stems. There's one straight one, and then there's one that's got the 2 stems on it. So I'm using 1 of each. And is our flower frame. It's all attached now. It just took a little time to dry it with a little persuasion. All right, so we're going to put a little color onto our flowers. So I'm going to bring my Darling Duckling that I had and a blending brush. I'm just going to add some color to the center of those flowers. So I'll take my brush, put my flower over here. I'm not going all the way out. I'm just going the inside area. Just a little bit of color. just so it shows the detail a little bit better. And one more. There we are. Close that up. And we'll start assembling here. All right, I'm going to start with my stems first. I'm going to do the large stem or the straight stem. I'm going to put the little knobby up at the top where the flower is. So that's going to go right there, and that one's going to go there. Remember that bird I told you last week about that keeps hanging by my window here in my craft room and then pounds on the window? He's still here, and now he's gotten the fun. I have some wind chimes hanging from the roof out there. So he hangs them from my wind chimes, and there's a bell on one of the chimes, and he sits there and he rings that. I don't know. I guess he likes it here. He doesn't want to go on. Crazy. Okay, my fingers got glue on them and sticking. Well, I guess I need to clean my fingers off. And then one down here. So I'm going to kind of do a dry fit here. And I'm going to bring my silicone mat back over here. I should have used adhesive sheets on some of these smaller pieces, but I didn't think ahead of time. So we're going to have to do it the hard way. We're going to put a little glue on there. Maybe. Probably should be using my fine tip, but it seems like that one takes a little longer to dry. We're just going to go with this and bring my reverse tweezers back over here to get a hold of it without getting glue all over my hands. And this is going to go kind of at an angle, right about there. And then we'll place our flower on there. And right about there. Now let's grab this other stem and put some glue on that. I don't think I'm going to run the glue all the way. I'm just going to put some dots of glue on there to hold it in place. And this one's going to kind of go at an angle. Grab a medium-sized flower. We'll put that onto this one. And our small one goes on the other one. Now we need some leaves. I'm going to put one right about there. See, they are a little bit different. I can see the difference on them. Let me see if I can hold that up, and you can see that there is a little bit of a difference on those dies. So I'm going to keep the two over here that are the same. And oops, see, I've got glue on my fingers. It wants to hang on to me. And the third one will go on our double stem, this side. All right, so here we are so far. And we need to add our center pieces to them. So I'm going to bring those over here, add my glue, and then we'll place them on the flowers. I've got one large one and two small ones. So I'll use those tweezers again. My fingers got too much glue on them. Everything's sticking to me. Okay, place that one there. The other small one on the medium sized. And the large one on the large flower. All right, so far. And then for our sentiment, I've got our garden green, and this measures 1 5/8 inches by 3/8 inches. And then a basic white that measures 1/4 inch by 1.5 inches. And we're going to stamp our sentiment onto that. And it's going to say, hello, friend. And that comes from the Storybook Friends. The sentiment right here, Storybook Friends. I'm glad they carried that over. That was one of my favorites too. Let me get my black memento. And let me get my head over here and see if I can get this on there. Very good. I guess that's not too bad. It's kind of off center. Let me try that again. I have some extras here. I think because I'm stamping it white on white background, it's hard to see it. So let's try that again. I'll move it down here where you can't see it on my colored area. Give it a little colored background there, and that's better. And this goes onto that, onto the green. And I'm just going to leave a small border going all around it. And I didn't place anything on this undimensional, so it's going to mail real good. Our mail post office likes that better, and we don't use dimensionals and such, but sometimes we have to. Okay, so hello, friend. And then I made a bow ready. I used, this is just called white ribbon. It's very easy to work with. It's very pliable, soft. And that's going to go at the bottom of our stem. Let me just kind of reshape my bow here. It got kind of mangled in the packaging. I'm going to bring over my mini glue dots. And I'm going to kind of roll that in a log and set that at the bottom of those stems. And that's where our bow is going to go. And for the gems, we're going to use those same blooming pearls that we used on the previous card. And where did I put them? I was going to say, how can I lose things? But you don't know what my desk looks like here. It is a mess. All right, put it away. So where did I throw them? There they are. Hiding underneath my dies. We're going to use those same blooming pearls, and I'm going to use the green this time. So I'm going to grab 3 small ones. We're using the small ones. And place those on our card front. All right, so there's the outside of our card. Hello, friend. And then on the inside, we're going to stamp You're in My Thoughts Today. And that one comes from the thoughtful expressions using the sentiment, you're in my thoughts today. And I'm just using my basic black, my black memento. And I'm going to stamp that just at the bottom right-hand corner. I'm not even putting an extra layer in there. We're just going to go naked. Okay, so I think we made it. Hello, friend. You're in my thoughts today. All right, we made it through all 3 cards today. So let's bring those back out here. Here's our first one, our fun fold. Oops. And then our designer series paper one, and then our flowers, die cut flowers. I hope you enjoyed those today, and I hope you'll like and share the video. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure that you hit that subscribe button and click that little bell, and you'll be notified when I go live. So until next week, which will be, where's my calendar? Gosh, I made a mess here. I need to clean my craft room. All right, next week will be May 19th. So I should be going live on May 19th, Monday, at my normal time. So 11:30 Eastern Time, 10:30 Central Time, 9:30 Mountain Time, and 8:30 Pacific Time. So until next week, y'all have a good rest of the week and enjoy your week. Get some crafting time in there. It's good for the soul, good for the mind, good for your sanity. So thank you for being here again, and I'll say goodbye. Thank you.